Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, we are not in the usual Musings of a Curvy Lady headquarters. We are in Brooklyn, New York. I'm so excited to be here, and I have so many amazing women here to be my guests on today's segment of Tea with Tamar. So I'm going to introduce you to all these amazing women. This is Audrey. And what is your handle, Audrey?
At Lulu Linden.
Yes. And we have Sandy here.
Hi, at Curve Envy.
All right. And Peggy.
At On the Q Train.
And this is Kat.
At Kat Lands EXO.
All right. So on today's episode, we're definitely going to be talking about something that's a little taboo, but something that's a shared experience between all of us. And that's as women of color content creators and voicing our shared experience about issues we've had as being excluded in this industry. So if you're interested, first of all, you need to subscribe to this channel. If you haven't already, do it now. And please keep watching. All right, guys, so like I said, thank you so much for joining me to have this conversation, because I think at one point or another, we've had this conversation with someone, but I think things have been happening to spark more conversations, and more conversations lead to hopefully change. So we're talking about our experiences as women of color in the creative world, in this industry, and the challenges that we face. So why don't you go ahead and start off, and like, what are some challenges that you have had? We could just go around with being a Black woman, a woman of color content creator in this industry.
I think for me, it's kind of been two main challenges, being blogging while brown. Hello.
Yeah.
And
BWB. Yeah.
Exactly. And on top of that, being a plus size blogger. And when brands reach out to me, it's either, oh my God, you're so great, we followed you on Instagram and your blog is so amazing, this, that, and the third. And then they go, oh, we love to work with you. I respond, great, I love to work with you too. What are your ideas, etc. And they, they tell me what their ideas are, and then I provide them my stats and my
dun.
Exactly, and my pricing. And it's like, oh, we only have a budget for just to provide the apparel, the items. We don't have a budget to pay. And in my mind, it says, okay, well, I have to pay for my photographer. I have to pay for the time that I cutting out throughout my day, outside, if I'm using a studio, etc. And that doesn't come cheap, nor is it free. So,
and the fact that you coming to me, you want my content,
right?
You obviously want my work,
right?
That at bottom line is going to cost you,
right?
And I don't want clothes.
And what they need to exactly, like Lord knows. And what they need to understand is, like, as bloggers, we speak to each other. And in speaking with each other, when you build that relationship with fellow bloggers, you start to go into the nitty gritty of, well, how much did you charge them? Or how much was the budget that they offered you? And it's something to be said when they offer one particular blogger a set fee, and then they offer you nothing and say, oh, we don't have the budget. Or they try to give one particular blogger more money and give you chump change in a way. And I know when we all started blogging, it wasn't about the money or anything like that. It was generally, we wanted to portray women like ourselves out there and say, look, you can look amazing. It doesn't matter what your size is. This is where you shop. And if you can't shop in these particular stores, this is how you shop. You have to learn how to read labels, know about fabrics and cuts, etc. And then it became this multi-million-dollar industry, and we're getting pennies.
Right.
And
Black women are significantly, you're always going to be paid lower in any industry that you're in, but this is just another avenue. Like, we are doing just as much work, great work. There's so many amazing content, like you guys, like amazing content creators, but we are getting completely underpaid.
Right.
What about you, Peggy?
I had an experience recently with a company. They told me they wanted to gift me an item. You guys know.
The special gift.
The gift. So that doesn't keep giving.
Yeah. So they wanted to gift me an item, and I've seen this company around on social media, on Instagram, and I've seen a couple of bloggers work with them. And obviously, when you see the hashtag sponsored or ad, they're getting paid. So I said, okay, give me an item. All right, let me try to present them a media kit. Let me present them an idea that I have, a concept that I have. They were all for it. They were all for the budget that I said that I wanted, and didn't hear from them. Did not hear from the company at all. And then I contacted them again, and then they told me that they don't have the budget anymore to work with me. And they're trying to work on something, and they'll get in contact with me very soon. And then maybe a couple days later, I saw them work with
Someone else.
my white counterparts. And obviously those, women, they have more followers. 'Cause, numbers on social media means a lot. But at the same time, I feel like my engagement is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they work with those women, and it really, really hurt me because I wanted to work with this company.
Yeah.
And they told me they didn't have the budget, but they worked with so many women.
They were able to find the money.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
And that's something that I've always had. I've always had that issue where companies say they don't have the budget, they don't have the money, or if they do pay, they pay very, very little for the content I'm going to produce. And then you see someone else getting paid so much more money than you, and then they're not giving you good content, and you know that you could give more, but because of those numbers, they'll work with those people. Yeah. So that's my issue that I have.
Yeah. How about you, Audrey?
Well, I just wanted to piggyback off of that, because what's crazy to me about those things is it's sort of like a cycle, right? Like the bloggers who have a lot of followers are you can't deny, if someone, I accept personally that if someone has more followers, more engagement than me, they will get more money than me. That's cool, but let's understand why that person has more followers than me, right?
The root.
The way maybe they look differently. Okay, cool, appearance, but say this person works with this brand and that brand reposts them and they get an X amount of followers increasing, that makes them more worthwhile than me to work with.
Yes.
But if I'm not getting the opportunity to work with a brand and then get that visibility, even though, because content can be the same, me and her can post the same exact quality picture, but hers gets reposted or regrammed or a shout out, and then she gets followers, and so her stock goes up. Whereas my picture is oh, that was cute, super cute, but you don't ever see it again. It's not reposted.
It gets jammed.
And then therefore I will not get those eyes. I will not get those followers.
Yeah.
So that person will continue to raise in stock and get paid, and it's well, I'm making the same quality content. It's just that it's not getting the eyes, and therefore it's not raising your stock. Therefore you are exactly where you started.
And it goes back to this question, why do you think that's happening? Why do you think that a fairer skinned, lighter eyes, thinner body is being, that body type, that blogger is being pushed more? And we put out great content. I can work with these brands, but they'll never repost me. That's very hurtful. You wanted my work, and you don't think I'm worth the time to show to your followers that you like me.
That definitely gets to me, because again, it's a quality thing. It's you want my reach, you want my followers to see you, but you don't particularly care about your followers seeing me.
Exactly.
But you do want your followers to see the skinny, long-haired, whatever it is.
I don't understand. Kat, why don't you let us know some of your issues that you've been having?
Well, I feel like I'm a newbie compared to you ladies, so I've actually just been trying to figure it out on my own, just because I haven't really had the opportunity to have these kinds of conversations. But I can say that I already did have an opportunity where I was presented with material, with apparel, and I thought that was normal. And then I took a picture and I sent them what they needed, and they just never reposted it or ever did anything. And then I was just kind of I wonder if this is how it is. Are you just supposed to always get clothes? Is something else supposed to come of this? And then I had a conversation with someone. They're well, no, do you have a media kit? I'm yeah, well, I mean, based on your numbers and what you're doing, you should be getting paid more than that. And I was oh, I didn't realize that was something that I could ask. So then now it's in my mind, I'm kind of okay, well, what do I have to do to get you to take me serious? You know what I mean?
You have to ask.
Yeah,
you
that's
have,
the thing.
The worst thing that they can say is no.
Right.
And I feel you're at such a great advantage right now because more people are having conversations like this. Because when I started out, I know it's very taboo. You don't talk about money at all with another blogger. That is stepping on each other's toes.
Yeah.
But I think that's a completely different issue in itself. But amongst Black women, we need to talk because it's completely different for us. We have to support each other. We have to look out for each other because it's a completely different game. It's a completely different playing field, and people will come back and say, oh, like you just put out good content. If you
Put 200% in.
yeah,
You'll get it.
girl,
Yeah.
It's not true.
I work a full-time job. I take care of my mother who's disabled. I have a disabled brother. I blog on this. I do volunteer work. You don't know my life and what I have to cut out in order to produce the content that I produce and still be able to do it on your deadline and completely be professional about it.
Right.
But another issue that I have just in the blogging world is that it's always the people that are ambiguously ethnic that have something to say about this issue. Like I'm talking about people who could pass as white or
Like a drop of brown, like they're
yeah. But they either will talk about it in order, I feel like, to help themselves look good.
Right.
They're not really for the cause. Or they're not doing it enough. Like I know this is not like the civil rights movement, but black people weren't the only people fighting for civil rights.
Right.
There were people who didn't look like them. There were white people. There were people of different, like you have to use your platform. I feel like you have a responsibility, especially if you're all about this, like everyone, like we love all bodies, like we're accepting fashion is amazing on everybody, or is it just on someone that looks like you? And even if you're not claiming that by not standing up for someone who's not getting the time or the platform or the exposure, I feel like you're being complicit, exactly. And I feel like in order, you have to ruffle up some feathers. This is not a topic that people like to talk. Anytime you talk about race or religion,
shy away.
it's
I don't
it's
want
gonna
to
be
go there.
Yeah.
Can we talk about something else?
Yeah.
All equals, like no.
it's
get
not
to it.
it's not equal. And I can tell you right now, like back in when was it that we had that experience where we were called the lower
I think 2015.
15.
We had been approached by a company to attend like a London Fashion Week.
Yes.
And we're so excited, right? We were so excited to get invited because like all the big names, big name bloggers were being invited. And they were getting all their stuff was being completely special treatment, taken care of. Not only were they getting paid to go, everything was being paid for them, like their flight, hotel, everything.
Accommodations,
everything. I'm like, girl, we got invited. That's gonna be us.
Right.
No. No.
It was like record scratch.
No, record scratch. And the only difference that you saw was 3 black women. And the other ones were either white or the ambiguously ethnic. And then, like, to add more salt into the wound, their reasoning, like, why do you had the audacity to ask me to come to your event, but then you want me to pay for my way to get there. And then your reasoning for why we're not getting sponsorship is because we're not big name bloggers. The bigger name bloggers get sponsored. And so I think another insult to that was the person who was telling us this was black themselves. So it was just like, oh my gosh, like, but the thing, we worked so hard to try to make it work. We still, even being denied sponsorship, we're like, this could be so amazing for us. This could be so amazing. Let's do it. We were working. You put out a GoFundMe.
I remember. It was horrible. Like, I remember I was speaking to you. I literally cried on social media because to get invited to like this big fashion week in London, it's like a dream come true for everyone. Right. But then to hear that we can't pay for your hotel, we can't pay for your flight, we can't accommodate anything. You're gonna have to just figure out your way. Maybe we would love to have you guys. You guys are amazing on social media. So I decided, because I really wanted to go, and we all wanted to go. We all thought about going. So then I did the GoFundMe. I wanted to raise $1,000. Literally, I cried on social media. I remember that day, cried, and I was just like, I can't believe I got invited to London Fashion Week. But the fact that they don't want to pay for me, guys, I need your support. Like, this is a dream for me. I really want to go. Please support me. Like, go to the site. Please donate anything. Literally, I raised more than $1,000 in like 3 days. That speaks volumes. That means that my followers believe in
supporters.
me.
They're not just followers.
You
they're
know, they
supporters.
support.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so it's more than just an influencer. These people connect with you. They
Right.
want to see you win.
Yes.
And made the money, and then we thought about it. We're like, what is the point of doing this? Like, what is the point? We raise money. We could go, but what's the point? We're not getting the respect. We're gonna
Not
be
respected at
We're
all.
going to be hustling in London Fashion Week. We're going to be producing content for them for
Exactly.
free,
Right.
posting on social media, using their hashtags. And how does that benefit us?
Yeah.
They're benefiting
does
from
not
us.
benefit
Yeah.
us.
From
And
the
that
middle
goes-
audience
and
that
that's
we
just
Why
have.
they contacted you in the first
Exactly.
place.
They thought they could treat us like that
Exactly.
Like
because
second-rate
of
citizens.
this.
Yes.
You wouldn't come to those other bloggers with that
Never.
mess. You
Yeah.
wouldn't. And
Never.
the fact that like you had the audacity to think that that was even okay, that goes back to so much like history. Like
Yeah.
the fact that you could get free labor from black
Exactly.
bodies.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
let's think about it. That's what it
That's pretty much
that's
what
what
it
it
is.
is. That's what it is. Girl.
It was
so hurtful.
We had so many
It was
three-way
like-
conversations.
Your house,
You was at my
girl,
house.
It was
Yeah.
terrible.
We had dinner over it.
Yeah, it was a very
But you know,
stressful point.
it all works out in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like we ended up not going.
Yes.
We were like, F it.
Yeah.
And we decided to do our own thing. I ended up having this awesome opportunity to come up to New York for Fashion Week.
Exactly.
And then we all met for the first time
Yes,
in person
yes.
to go to this
We had
other
so
party. And it was
dope
Black
things
Girl
happening.
Magic.
Yeah.
It was
It
like
was
dope things happened that day. I
amazing.
remember.
Yes.
So many dope
Yes.
things
It
happened.
was
everywhere.
so amazing.
Yes. And that's what makes me a true believer that anything that you have to work so like when something in your gut is telling you like no and you're still fighting to make it happen, like it's not gonna work out in the end. Like I'm not to say like hustling isn't a big part of like what we do, because yes it is, but like especially when it comes to finding work to validate you, you should not be begging.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be breaking your
Especially
brow.
when they come to you.
Yeah.
That's like you see value in me.
Right. You
But-
found me.
I'm looking for you.
I was
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about London Fashion.
No one's looking
I was
for
over
you.
here
Yeah,
like,
you
you
No
know
one's
what to
looking for
do.
you,
Yeah,
boo.
come correct. You have to come correct.
Right.
Yeah. And that's not okay. That's not okay.